And with our breaking news out of Foxborough, the Patriots are releasing Cam Newton and will move forward with Mac Jones as their quarterback. Cam was battling with the Alabama rookie for the starting job, but the former MVP missed some training camp due to COVID protocols and didn't do enough in limited preseason action to hold on to his roster spot. So, Shannon, what's next for Cam Newton?
I don't know what's next for Cam Newton, but I know Coach Saban got, now we know why he went on the national championship. He got 3 quarterbacks that was on the same team that's starting, Skip. Mac Jones, Tua, and Jalen Hurts. Yep. Were all on the same team and all starting in the NFL on current roster. Yep. And he got about 5 receivers that was on that team that's also starting. That explains it. And the running backs. Skip, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's next for Cam. I really don't. You're talking about a guy, like you said, he's fairly young, 32, but he's not a typical 32-year-old drop-back quarterback. He's got some miles on him from the punishment that he's taken while he was in Carolina. And if you bring him in, I don't know how you bring him in as a backup. Is that something Cam Newton is willing to accept, being a backup? For me, Skip, Houston is the logical place, the landing spot for me. Now it gives us some assurance. Now we're going to stand pat with Deshaun. We not going to get up off him. We got Cam, Tyrod Taylor. If he doesn't, work out well, Cam, we put Cam in there. We ride with this. But Skip, I don't see, looking around the league, I don't see a situation where he can come in and be the starter. And then that's one of the reasons I believe New England ultimately would say, like, we're going to start Mac, but Cam, you can't be the backup here. Where can he go and be a backup? Is that something that Cam is willing to, like? Because, Skip, once you've been a starter and you've enjoyed the level of success that Cam is enjoying, you've got to swallow a lot of pride.
Yep.
To all of a sudden be to know that I'm not the guy. I'm not running out there with the starters. When they introduce the starting offense, I'm not running through that tunnel getting the crowd hype. I'm running scout team, something Cam Newton has never had to do since he's been in the NFL. So, Skip, I'm going to be honest with you, 1,000%, Skip, I don't know what's next for Cam.
He was the MVP of this league. He lifted a team all the way to the Super Bowl. He didn't play great against your Broncos in the Super Bowl, but I'm not sure anybody would have played great with Von Miller coming off the edge like a terror. Okay, so the first name that hits me between the eyes is Ron Rivera, now coaches, obviously, Washington.
Right.
And it's Fitzpatrick and Heineke is their 1-2 punch. And they gave Heineke some money, and he played pretty to very well against the Bucs in that playoff game, as you recall. Played very well, actually.
He did. Better than any other quarterbacks that played against the Tampa defense.
Okay, so I ask you, Washington is a loaded football team that still has a big question mark at quarterback, only at quarterback. What does Ron Rivera now think of Cam that he won with and went miles with and knows him inside and out? Would he think he'd be a little better choice at quarterback right now than Fitzpatrick? I'm going to say yes, he would. It's a lot to uproot and turn upside down this close to the start of the season.
Right.
But in the end, push comes to shove. Would Ron Rivera right here, right now on a lie detector think he could win a game or two more with Cam than Fitzpatrick? I say yes. I believe it's a big yes.
But, Skip, I would have felt better. Cam was a free agent all of last year. And look at the option that they had in Washington, and Coach Rivera didn't buy it.
Did not. Okay, your Denver Broncos have struggled at quarterback, and you thought maybe Aaron Rodgers would land there, and he's a Packer. I think he's going to be a Packer for life, but that's a whole other issue for another day.
Okay.
So it comes down to Drew Lock, another Elway choice that's iffy at best.
Correct.
And Teddy Bridgewater, whom they acquired, obviously, from Carolina.
Yep.
Is Cam right here, right now, better than Teddy Bridgewater? Would he win one more game than Teddy could as the Broncos starting quarterback? I'm a yes on that.
Okay.
I'm not the biggest Bridgewater fan, but while Teddy won't get you beaten, he'll play. He's sort of Dalton-esque to me. He'll play pretty well in every game, but it won't really get you anywhere. Cam can get you somewhere because Cam's still capable of having that at Seattle game where he throws for 397.
But here's the thing, Skip. Now you have to bring him in and bring a whole new system he's going to have to learn.
To turn your whole franchise upside down for Cam this close to the start of the regular season is pretty scary and daunting, and most of these teams probably wouldn't do it. Okay, so you mentioned the Texans. I don't know where they're going. I don't know what they're doing. it's still hard to know even what Deshaun's fate is going to be.
Right.
But would Cam be better than Tyrod right now? Right. Yeah, I think he'd win a game or two more.
I think it gives him a little more security. I think it's like, okay, well, they're straight. If Tyrod doesn't work, Cam gets Cam up to speed, learn the offense. So now we're not in a rush. I mean, you got Tyrod Taylor. I don't even know who the backup is in Texas, Skip.
I guess it's Stanford. What's his name? Is it Davis Mills?
Okay, yeah. But I believe that offers the Texans some security that we don't have to take this little offer that someone's given us for what we believe is a franchise-altering quarterback that's 25 years of age.
Okay. Do I want to see Cam Newton play for the worst team in the NFL, and start 17 games and get the you-know-what kicked out of him? I don't love that idea.
Right.
But is that what's left for him at this point?
Well, Skip, if I'm unemployed, there's not a job that I wouldn't do, Skip, for the most part, to have employment, especially if I got a family to feed. Now, sure, there are jobs that I might not want to do. But when I need to provide, the question is, you can't look at it like, man, that's the Houston Texans. That's beneath me. You're a quarterback. You're without a job. For me, it's a no-brainer, Skip. When you're without a job in the NFL, there are no bad teams. There's not a situation that's not ideal for you because guess what? You're not in an ideal situation.
So in the end, to me, if we're talking about being a backup quarterback, Cam Newton is like too good for his own good because he's too good to be a backup. He is overqualified, especially at this stage and age of his career, just to suddenly say, I'll be a backup. You've been around Cam. I've been around him and his father enough to know he's a force of nature. He takes over your whole franchise, and he can lift your whole franchise, but you can't just push him into the shadows and say, hold this clipboard for 17 games and run the scout team. I just don't see it.
No.
Unless he can swallow a whole lot of pride, and I wouldn't wish that upon him.
Well, hey, Mike Vick had to be a backup. Randall Cunningham ended up being a backup. I mean, so it's not, obviously they didn't win the MVPs, but they were the quarterbacks similar to Cam and skill set that had great success early on, that had to be a backup that later became, Skip, remember, Randall had left the league completely. And then came back with Minnesota, had that outstanding year. I played a year with Randall in Baltimore. So you can't, I know it's tough for Cam to be Cam, and all of a sudden I'm standing on the sideline with the headset on, and it's tough. It's tough, Skip. It's tough.
And it's hard for Cam because he's so social media conscious. He lives on social media that it's hard for him not to share his emotions constantly on social media. Well, that's not the best case scenario for a backup quarterback who's going to get frustrated after 4 or 5 weeks.
Well, the first thing I would do is I'd go down to somebody's CVS or Walgreens or health department and I'd get vaccinated. I'm going to start with that. Because if you don't think people are holding that against you, you hear all the coaches talking about, I want these players, I want to get there. Even Jerry Jones is talking about getting vaccinated because at the end of the day, Skip, if this is a team and we're a team and one guy can blow this whole thing up, it's just hard for me to see a scenario, Skip, with a quarterback. Of all the positions that really need to be, is him.
So that's going to be a qualification of continued employment in this league, is he's going to have to get vaccinated. Right?
I believe it's going to be a qualification probably in 2022, 2023. That you're going to,
for everybody.
Yes.
Oh, I agree. Every franchise is going to it in personnel off the field, and now...
Because we saw the Astros, I think the Astros and the Nationals, I think they're two baseball teams. If you want to be employed here, you're going to get vaccinated.
We know that's where it's headed.
That's where it's headed. I want to see how many guys are going to turn to the deal and say, nah, I don't want this $20, $30 million. I ain't getting vaccinated. I'm going to see.
And you saw what just happened to Carson Wentz, unvaccinated, and he's on the COVID list. And you can't love that.
Yeah, I'm about to be out with Carson Wentz. It's always something with him. It's the injuries. It's the, I'm just about to be done with him.